Everybody, JP here checking in, respectmyregion.com, Buddy's brand, here today on the North American Weed Tour podcast. We are on episode 30. I've got two really awesome special guests today. We've got Ben Pfeifer from Aeriz. They're an aeroponic cannabis group out of Illinois. Super excited. Thank you for being on here with us today, my friend.
Of course, very lucky to have you here.
And then we also have Jason Brown from Illinois News Joint, a guest we've had on here before. Jason, thank you again for putting this episode together with Ben here. It's really cool to actually talk cannabis from West Coast, Midwest, and really dive into what you guys have going on out there. So thank you.
Awesome.
I'm interested in listening to what Ben has to say about the aeroponics, because we've actually never talked. We've talked about a lot of other growing, but we've actually never talked about it. So
yeah, everything else like that.
So that's what's super interesting to me. I remember the first time I went to an aeroponics grow, Spokane, Washington, Eastern Washington, where the NCAA hosts some basketball stuff. And I remember just being blown away that was even the possibility of doing it. So before we get into all the science, Ben, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do with Aeriz, and then, of course, please feel free to dive right into what aeroponics is, because we all want some clarification on how this even happens.
Of course, yeah. So I'm Ben Pfeifer. Like you said, I work for Aeriz. I do the veg department over there, so propagation, planting, all this stuff before we kind of go into flower. Mm-hmm. I originally was a horticulture production major, graduated in December, and I've started a full-time gig at Aeriz, and it's been awesome, really awesome facility and everything. It's all aeroponic from clone to harvest, so even the clones that we take, every process of it is aeroponic. So
at no point in the way were they ever grown in any other method except for
nope, all aeroponic. Yep, from clone to harvest. So yeah, basically, and all aeroponic is it's basically a mist system that we have on a specific time frame that go onto our roots, mist onto it, lay a light layer of water onto it, and that offers a really good opportunity for almost air water exchange a lot faster than typically just soaking a whole table or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. For the people that don't really know what the veg and the different processes are, can you dive in a little bit more and kind of, help us understand as consumers the various stages of growing cannabis, right? I think there's 3, maybe 4 of them at, depending on how you really chunk it up, right?
Of course, yeah. So at Aeriz, what we kind of do is we have propagation. So with baby makers, we go in there and we got mothers all set up in tables going aeroponic as well. We go in and we take cuttings, and that way we can continue to keep going with the same strains or whatnot. Always have the same bag anytime that you get one,
Yep.
So we take from cuttings. Yep. Always consistent. That's what we're looking for. So we take the cuttings and then we go into an aeroponic cloner. It sits there for a couple weeks until we show roots. After that, we plant into a net pot. In that net pot, we just have expanded heated clay balls that are just rock hard. And all those do is just sit there and hold it up tight. And that's it. And then basically we put it into our table system, and into our table system, the little baby plants, they get misted, and then they just grow bigger and bigger after a couple of weeks or the time frame we choose. Then we flip them into flower, and they finish their process out there. And it's really nice and convenient. We get to judge the roots really easily. We could tell everything that's going on in there. We could see it firsthand. We have a real benefit of when we're planting into the actual tabletop, instead of normally companies, they're planting into pots, into different things like that. We have that whole tabletop to grow into. Our roots expand into that entire area instead of just being confined in a specific area.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice advantage to it. Transplanting works out really nice and easily. There ain't too much stress that goes on, just one to the next. And we rotate through separate rooms or whatnot. But the key advantage is when we rotate into veg, into flower, stuff like that, since we are aeroponic, everything's just rinsing right off real nice. So and we're going into flower our last couple of weeks or whatnot, when we go to flush, we get a really, really good flush out of our actual medicine. So our roots wash off really, really nice, helps us get a better and a higher quality product.
Now, why does that make such a big difference for the consumer? Because I'm sure they're like, why does that even matter to me?
Yeah. Well, with anything, we kind of wanted to senesce and go into its later stages of life and slowly start working out all the nutrients or whatever that we've been pumping it with to keep it alive and keep it thriving. And just the later stages, you kind of do a flush to help everything just kind of get out of there and clean up, and you just run it with water, and it helps really get a cleaner bud taste, and you don't get
Cleanse. It's like a cleanse, right?
yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, cleaning it out and you get that cleaner bud taste. A lot of people say it burns white and everything, and that's a big reason for it. You know, I mean, it's hard to say for that. I'm not going to back that. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, either way, I definitely suggest doing a little bit of a flush, and us being able to do it this way is really convenient.
I tell you what, man, we grew some weed. You know, y'all can grow weed there. We can grow weed there at home. We grew some stuff outdoor here. And we did just because we were fucking around and we had already killed hella plants. So it's just like, what can go wrong from here?
Yeah.
We did a 3-week flush just to see what would be the difference compared to doing something like a 2-week before, the summer before.
Yeah.
And the buds did come out cleaner, terpier, brighter. The ash was a little bit less dark than it was last year. Similar strain profiles. And so I think there's obviously a lot of variables that go into the whole white ash thing. Some of it comes down to me in the trimming. If it's leafier and there's more chlorophyll in that, naturally that's going to burn darker and have a harsher taste. So the people that are lazy on the trimming and stuff like that, it's naturally going to be darker because it's leafier. But for you guys out there, you guys are in the Illinois market. Jason kind of made a joke earlier about Anna, where you guys are based. People that are from the West Coast, I grew up in Indiana. Even me growing up in Indiana, man, I've only ever heard of Chicago, maybe Springfield. I wouldn't know any other places in that state. I'm sure Jason's mentioned cities multiple times, and I'm just like, all right, let me Google this real quick. Talk to me a little bit about where you guys are from and what it's like growing cannabis out there.
Yeah, Anna, so we're a really, really small town. Like I said, I went to Southern Illinois University, so Carbondale is the biggest town that's right near it. And that's about 20, 25 minutes away. We have a lot of people that come in from different surrounding towns or whatnot, but it was a relatively small town, and we've been able to produce a massive amount of jobs for the community. And that's one of the best things. And we're partnered with Shawnee Community College to help bring in students and help them get employees, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's been really, really awesome experience, and it's really, really small town feel. We're not huge corporate, you know what I mean? We have a couple of owners, and we have that nice feel going around. It's not like everything's super strict, like go through this, that, or whatever. It's really just that still hometown feel. And I started there when we were just around 40 employees, and we're working our way up to right around 300. So
wow, you guys are booming.
Yeah, it's been a big jump and a big scale up. So it's been really, really fun, and we've given a lot of great opportunities to the surrounding people. So that's crazy. Big respect to your work as part of the cultivation team, because to see that scale, it's a lot of different pieces to a puzzle, all playing their role consistently, day in, day out, doing the right things, staying low key, and just sticking to the goal, So big respect, man. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of love that go into it, and we always try to share that, whether it's us working on plants or amongst us, and we really try to show that and push that off into our cannabis.
So real quick to transition and give Jason the floor for half a bit. Jason, what's new? What's going on out there in the world of cannabis, man? We've got a really cool brand here today. Shout out to Ben and Aeriz. What is new out there in Illinois? Let's give the people a quick update. What can we share in terms of is there any breaking cool things? Obviously, we got the CBD Expo at the end of the month. What's new out there in Illinois, just off the top?
First, let me just get regional in Illinois, and this will be personal to Illinois people, but Chicago's great. It's where all the money is, where all the people are. There's a whole nother part of the state that is completely different. And there's actually basically broken into 3 parts of the state that's completely different. And to give the central and southern Illinois some more love, we're always for that, because it's much needed. I would say right now that the things that have been the most interesting are the cannabis events. The Cannabis Camp in Peoria was a great event. The D8 Festival I just went to this weekend was great. Grow Up had a 10-year anniversary customer appreciation day, or 20, I think, actually. I'm not sure how long it was. They've been around for a while. but they had an event, and even though it rained, it still didn't keep. I mean, all these events are just they're happening, and Illinois, even though Illinois is kind of stalled in what they're doing legally and through legislation or trying to get licensing and all those out, the rest of Illinois is moving along, and so these events are really good for breeders, grow shops, and everybody else, nutrients people, just everybody who's involved in the industry in some way are able to get out there and meet people. And I keep saying this over and over, especially the young people. It's not to Ben specifically, but this cannabis industry, especially in Illinois, is very small. And you're going to run into these people constantly. So be a good cannabis citizen. Just be a good person. This industry is going to be around, and it's just going to grow. But I'm going to these events, and you're meeting 10 to 20 people at every event, and you do that. How long has it been legal? And right now, where were you guys at in your legal?
LA's 96.
Right. I mean, just think where where's Illinois going to be? And I mean, geez, I don't even want to do that math in my head. That's so far. I mean, that's damn near like 25, 30 years. You know what I mean? And then they did have this thing called Prop 215. See, it's decriminalization and then sales, and then it's a whole process in terms of the legislation and how that works. California's had 215 and Prop 64, which is like that's their version of retail and medical markets and stuff like that, right? I want to say it's like close to, I think 05, 06 was really when that got started. Right. So a solid 15 years, you know what I mean? 16 years for some people. Some of the brands have been around for a long 20 years as a brand to some respect. And I try to emphasize this as well. In Illinois, we're basically an infant in the industry. We are so, new and early, because what percentage is that? If you're here 15 years, we've been here for not even 2 yet. So that's where we're at now. Give us 5. And I have a feeling that things will be moving, and I do think next year will be kind of a breakthrough year for Illinois and the industry, licensing and some other things that will be released. Other than that, I really think the biggest thing that's happening is the events that also include the cannabis brands, and Aeriz was at the cannabis camp. So these things are promoting and doing things that are bigger and better than, and expanding the industry more than we've had before. And we just need more of them. And the ones right now that have been hosted have been done really well. Now that doesn't mean the ones in the future are going to be done well or not, but we have Cannabis is coming here in Chicago. We're trying to see what that's going to be all about. They've got some kind of Squish and Grow Award things they're trying to do in Illinois and Missouri and I think Michigan. So again, I think it's just the events, and in Illinoisans are ready just to get this thing going more. They're just doing it. They're not waiting anymore. I think that's
well, and I think that's one thing that the industry is headed in an exciting way. I know one of the biggest reasons why I tapped in with you, Jason, is people that are curating and helping to communicate what's going on in these areas is huge, and that's how we have greater impact. And Ben, it's awesome to have you here today, because part of connecting and bridging the culture is we're Pacific Northwest, West Coast, and to really bridge the gap, these brands out here are looking at your guys' states like, I'm trying to go there. What's Chicago like? What's good? What's it, what it's like to grow there? How much does it cost? What are the taxes? How much are licenses? We get asked these kinds of questions all the time. You may or may not be the guy to ask, but regardless, the cultivation side of it is so important in terms of the success of the retail, the patients getting what they want. Ultimately, patient access happens when there's products for the patients to have access to. And so we've got to be growing consistent quality. There's got to be safe product testing labs, got to be doing their thing. Ben, can you talk a little bit about the strains that you guys cultivate? and that even some of the strains that you enjoy from other farms, or however that works for you guys out there.
Yeah, definitely. So we definitely have a couple famous strains. We're known for the Jenny Kush. The Jenny Kush we've had in the High Times Cup a couple times. That's a really, really good strain. A lot of people really go nuts over that. Me personally, we have a strain that Jason's reviewed called Cake Breath, and the Cake Breath is fantastic. It's really, really good. It's a wedding cake crossed with the Mendo Breath, and it really has those sour terps that scream right through it with a little bit of gas note or something. I just love it. It's really, really tasty. But we have the classic Tropicana cookies. We got the good stuff. You know what I mean? We do some strains specifically more towards extract. We got some pink lemonade strains and some other stuff that are just really, really terpy. But we got the Mac 1 that everyone goes nuts for. It's the caps cut, everything, you know.
I'm not a Mac guy, and I've got a lot of respect for Cap, and I got a lot of respect for the Mac because people undoubtedly love it. For me, don't even really enjoy the creamy berryness that it has. Don't even really ever feel high from it. So
yeah,
you know, people. That's interesting. I think it's because we've talked about this before, Joe, that we are either high in sativa or the opposite indica, and that is a right smack in the middle hybrid, and that is why I'm not a huge fan. I mean, everybody I know loves it, and I'm kind of right there with you. So
pass.
Yeah, everyone goes nuts for it. I think what it really is it has that bag. You know what I mean? When you bust that open,
I always forget the bag appeal on that one's crazy.
It's unbelievable. And when you look at it on a microscope, those trichomes, you can't squeeze another one in there. So that's what I really think it is. And it does have a little, it's nothing crazy that screams through. The breeder says pasta water terps. I love that the best. But no, it's good. But I mean, even growing it, I don't know if you guys know about the Mac, but the Mac has almost like a double the veg time. It's a real, like it doesn't have that vigor other plants have. You know what I mean? It's finicky. It has really, really tight crotch angles on the branches, everything like that. It's a beautiful flower, but you know, it's one of those tough little weird ones. But yeah, the state goes nuts for it. It's one of those that people love. Me personally, I love the terpy stuff. I like the real funky stuff. We have some stuff that we searched in-house for China berry, which is Chinese landrace times blueberry. And it is just this funky, like sour, but with the berries on the back, and it's really, really good.
Okay, so I like that. I actually really enjoy blueberry weed. It's one of the easiest, I guess, terpene profiles to really get to shine good, bad, ugly for your situation. Yep. They tend to be more stable in terms of a lot of things from what I've seen. I think that's why Blue Dream was grown the way it was. Yep. So I would, definitely super interested in hopefully getting out there and smoking that. Jason, when I'm out there at the end of the month, we gotta go to a dispensary. I gotta get some of their buds. We gotta see what's up, man. I gotta get some of the weed. Right now, this Kosher Kush with a little bit of my personal little home grow that we have here it was some strawberry mango haze or something like that. It's fire, and it's actually not even that dark, so I'll take it like that, you know?
It sounds good.
Sometimes you win. Now, my next question for you guys is, how do you guys go about selecting the strains and the cultivars and whatnot at Aeriz?
So we also have a sister company that's based in Arizona. So we run a lot of similar stuff just to kind of keep the name, you know what I mean, kind of in line, same strains, both different locations or whatnot. But in general, it really comes down to what's really like pushing the market, you know what I mean, what we really enjoy. We've had to say goodbye to a couple of strains that were really good, but just aren't worth what it is now, you know what I mean? Yeah, so we try to keep up with the market. We bring in new strains every couple months or whatnot, new partnerships, whatever we can do to always have something new in rotations. We got some new secret things that are coming out in the future that are going to be really good. But I mean, we've just pushed out, it's not super recent anymore, but our most recent line is we threw out we put out the Gorilla cookies. We got Gorilla butter. We have another one that is going to come out is the Durban or whatnot.
Love that. Love Durbans.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And we always try to keep it in good rotation. You know what I mean? We don't want to have anything that, we have the classics like the ice cream cake and like I said, the Mac and all that, you know what I mean? For people that are go-tos, you know what I mean? But we try to keep it new and keep it current and all that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason, you've smoked a bunch of these strains, right? You've smoked a number of their buds. Do you have now? Obviously, here you're on the spot. Do you have a personal favorite?
I mean, just not so much as there's a couple brands that I'd be more go to that I would get, but I'm more, again, we talked about this before. I'm more for high energy, motivating sativa that can, help my ADD. And that's just not, that type of strand's not one that people like to grow a lot. It doesn't produce much in yield. It doesn't, a lot of people don't like it. They're just like, well, I'm not high. And it's like, well, it's not that, it's a different high. So I'm more in that right now. Illinois, including Aeriz, there's.
What about of all the ones that you smoked from Aeriz? Do you have a favorite from them? Because I know he said earlier that you did the cake breath.
The cake breath is probably my favorite from theirs.
It's funky.
Is that more of like that like foot cheesy funk, or is it more of like a?
Gotta ask the review man. Yeah.
Great guess.
Not to be a dick, but please check out the review. It's IllinoisNewsJoint.com. Put in Aeriz, it'll be in there. But
you're a real one, Jason.
It's like a sweet. The wedding cake is definitely, it's like a sweetness, but a lot of the Aeriz have like its own little kind of funky terp that they have for some reason. Not in all their strands, but there's the specific ones. I don't know. It was a little surprising to me. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
I love it. For me, I'm actually not much of a Mendo person.
The concentrates are always tasty that I've had. Every one of theirs have been really good, from the GMO to the chocolate candy cookies to I can't remember what other ones we've had. But sorry, I talked over that question. What
are some of those? No, you're all good. And I'm just high, so excuse any of the interjections. What are some of those extracts that you guys are running? Is it live resins? Is it rosins? What are you guys running?
So we stick to everything. Everything we try to do live. So our butter, it's live. That's what we really stick to. We don't try to do a bunch of different things. We try to stick to what we do best and knock it out of the park. So our live butter, fantastic, really gooey, has that almost like terp layer on top on a lot of them. I love it. It's really clean, smokes really, really good. No harshness or anything. We have that. We also do the diamonds and sauce. Everyone goes nuts for those. So we have the diamonds and sauce, and then we do the classic vape pens. We do full spectrum hash oil, CO2, stuff like that. So
that's super dope. And you guys are doing soy oil. You guys don't have other people's flour going into any of that for y'all?
Nope, it's completely sourced solely from us. Yeah, we have we started at around 50,000, and now we just expanded and added an extra 100,000 square foot of just canopy space, and then more to come. So
booming. Not only are you guys killing it at what you're currently doing, but you're also expanding and gonna continue building upon the success. And this is all happening in Anna.
Yep, all happening in Anna. We're trying to do what we can to get a little bit in everyone's pocket. So we're trying to get everyone's needs. Yeah,
absolutely love it. Now, have you also been to the other markets, and have you been to a lot of the dispensaries that are around the state and things like that as well?
Yeah, so I'm a medical patient myself. So I've been across the state, a couple different places. You know what? It's nice. We got a nice one actually in Anna. It's local. You know what I mean? I'm all about local. So I support the local Anna one. It's Thrive. Really, really nice. It's a cool setup in there. It's pretty. So it does the job for me. You know what I mean? Don't got to travel too much. So
what are some of the rough price points for your guys' products, say at Thrive?
It really depends. Medical, recreational, you know what I mean? Usually it's around like a $60 eighth for medical patients. Concentrates.
That's top shelf for your guys' state?
Yeah. We try to produce that top shelf. We got silver and bronze in the high times last year. So we try to do the best we can. You know what I mean? We're trying to hit that top shelf notch. It's not about quantity for us. It's 110% about quality.
That's awesome. And so I would assume that your guys' your smalls are going into pre-rolls or going into other items as well. Do you guys do all these different items?
Exactly. Yeah. So we don't use any shake for anything flour wise, anything like that. All our joints are nug rolls. So they're all normal size nugs or whatnot. We just grind them down, get some real tasty pre-rolls out there in everyone's hands. So
dang. A lot of people cut that corner and they just decide, oh, yep, I'm going to take all my bee buds and just, out of the pound and just put them straight into that. And technically, it's not the best representation of the strain they're putting in their eights, and that's what the customers are actually expecting.
Yeah, and it never burns right. You know what I mean? You always get those pre-rolls. I want to act like it. If it ain't nug, it don't burn right. You know what I mean?
I would actually agree. Even the smaller nugs, I'm okay with. Like if the strain is fire enough and the terpene profile enough, then I can let it slide that they're using the smaller buds. But it's still very rare, and you're definitely sacrificing THC the smaller the bud, right? So
yeah, I agree.
So for you said you visited a number of other states. Are there any dispensaries outside of Thrive that you would also like to mention or shout out? Just I'm trying to visit a couple, one or two,
Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm all local, so I'll shout out the local ones. Thrive's my one right here in Anna, and I live in Carbondale. So Carbondale, we got to consume. That's recreational. There's one in the town next door that's Marion, and that's medical and recreational. They're real nice in there, and they've been great. So I couldn't represent more. Yeah, they're real great companies. So,
man, big shout out to that as well, man. Everybody, if you guys happen to visit Illinois and you find yourself out in the cuts and outside of Chicago in these towns and you need weed or you're a patient and you're out there, you happen to watch this video, please take those recommendations. This is someone who literally is living and breathing cannabis culture and the industry out there. Also, too, sounds like there's some expansion. So if you might be in need of a job, definitely visit aeriz.com.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Aeriz/careers, I believe is what it is. But yeah, we'd love to have anyone. And if you're local, we're trying to build that awesome community. So we're definitely friendly and trying to move to the future.
So one thing that's super interesting to me is what it's like to be growing weed every day. So we've got two people that grow weed every day, one that's commercially doing it, one that's legally doing it as a medical patient. So what's interesting to me is, and I guess, Jason, we can start with you first. What is it like growing weed as, in this home grow legal program that you guys have out there? What is it actually like day to day? Is it just the same old thing, like nothing different? Is the vibe different? Is the stress off the back? What is it like now that you've been growing cannabis in the state, now that it's legal?
First, Ben's been growing way longer than I have. He grows his own too.
He gets to talk about commercially growing today.
I was going to say, it's your part. Come on.
Again, I don't have any answers. I'm a first-time grower. I literally just published my last grow journal of my first grow. I have about a 4-week lag behind between the journal and the actual, growing, so I can see what's happening and it's easier to write. So I have 5 more going right now.
So we're a month out on those 5 potentially, or what? Or
say it again.
How long are you till those 5 are done?
I just popped them. They're a month in.
Okay, so, they're a month in.
That's what sucks about Illinois is one of the biggest thing is plant limits. We're stuck to 5 over 5 inches. So anything under 5 inches, if you keep them that way, you can have them as many as you want technically. But anytime it's over 5 inches, you can only have 5 plants, and that's in all stages, no matter what it is. So you can't have 5 in veg and 5 in flower, which would be fine, really, if they would just do that.
Yeah,
so let me have. Right, if the law was 5 plants flowering at one time, I'd be fine with that. It's about all I can fit in my tent. But I want 10 other plants vegging at the same time, because I might want to pop a different strand in for something different that I, am not expecting or something. And then there's some other things which I've talked to actually some people about lately. I think the law against medical patients gifting weed has got to go. I mean, it's a law that recreational people do not have to follow. Recreational person can go grab some cannabis from the dispensary and go make edibles or whatever they want out of it, or just go straight gift it to somebody. I think it's up to like a couple ounces or an ounce. As a medical patient, you can't do that. You can't share weed. You can't share plants. You can't do any of that. And it's almost, I think that's one of the things that we should be allowing medical patients to do, because I don't want to spend 5 months growing a plant that's not going to help my medical needs. And if I can try other people's, and what I found out is growers are very willing to share and be nice to other growers and patients because they understand what it's like to, find medicine that you didn't know existed or you haven't tried, and then you try and like, oh, shit, I'm going to run some of this. But if you don't know that and you don't talk to these people or you don't get clones from people or you don't do those things, that community doesn't exist, and it needs to exist. Those are probably my two biggest gripes about it. Other than that, just growing and not the bureaucracy that comes with it. It's great. It's life-changing for me. I'm never stopping. I'm gonna just grow forever. I might take some breaks, but I'm never stop growing. And
I know we've done a couple phone calls where you're actually, you're trimming, or I'm like, yo, you got a bunch of weed shit in the video, which you like actively doing this, actively living the farmer life.
I'm so grateful for the people who got me into this, Ben being one. That I'm trying to push it forward. I'm trying to get people, if they want to be a medical patient, we have people to help them do that. If they want to start their grow, we have, genetic people help them do that. We have grow shops that work with us to help us do that. And we really definitely want to help veterans in need, people with disabilities, or anybody really in need that wants, to grow their own medicine legally in Illinois now, since we can. So growing at home is time consuming. It's not something that you can just throw in the tent and take off and do. I mean, and if you're growing right, I don't think there's a choice. You get obsessive over it, and I'm in there talking to them every day. So
I love it. I love it. And your grow journal, you are tracking the grow journal on IllinoisNewsJoint.com, correct?
I just finished the first one, and I'm getting ready to start the second one. I'm actually doing patient reviews as well. So I'm relaunching our patient reviews with my own cannabis that I just grew, and then I have some other ones actually in the can right now that I need to get out there. So running a little. So yes. It's something that I wish we had 10 years ago, and if I had it 10 years ago, I could be a lot better now. I'm, as I said about the Illinois cannabis industry, I'm the infant in the growing experience world here. That was literally my first grow. Now I'm starting my second, and I've about fucking killed him. That's just to be honest. This will be about the first journal entry. For one time I've never really do this, but I pre-made some water with some fish shit in it, and I pH balanced it, but I wasn't paying attention, and the pH balance went up. I don't know if the up and down balance is just not stable or what it was. I don't know. And I watered it 2.5 times, and it just went brown and started killing them, and I started freaking out and getting stressed, and so I didn't know what it was at first. So then I finally tested the water again, and it was like up to 7.8, and I was just like, so again, as I just put in my very last grow journal, the last words is, I've developed a mantra like other people who just keep telling me, like shit happens and get over it. Mine is just grow and learn and grow and learn, grow and learn. That's just basically, I think that's the only way you can do it.
I love it. I love it. Now, and I appreciate you sharing that too. I think there's actually lessons to be learned in that. Obviously the most technical thing is be careful and be consistent with the pH balancing and with the entire nutrient cycle, whether you're doing it at home or whether you are doing it commercially, right? As funny as that story is, you grow medicine for for your own medicinal reasons to a lot of extents. I love that's even for me. That's something that here at my house, we have the worst water here in LA. It's like, and so to try to treat it every day for our plants has been very important to even us growing stuff here at the house.
What I get the most of a lot is I just like that you're honest in your journal, and you're because I post photos of the herm plant that hermed. I post photos of the dying leaves that I about killed. I haven't posted, but I've taken photos of them. I show these things because I want people to know that it's a plant too, and as much as I screwed it up, these things are bouncing back and they're looking sweet now. So it is a weed, and it'll do its thing if you can just get out of its way and let it have the things it wants.
Now, Ben, you were once, and maybe you still are, I'm not sure, but you're cultivating at a commercial level now, and you were, like he alluded to earlier, a previous home grower. So in terms of cultivating commercially in Illinois, can you walk us through kind of what it's like working in your position? What is a day in the life of someone doing veg and propagation and all these different aspects of that part of the cannabis industry?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd love to. So at Aeriz, we're all indoors. We're all under high pressure sodium lights, aeroponic tables, and in a confined room in a confined environment. So we try to keep everything as sterile as possible. We tell everyone there we treat our cannabis like we're actually producing medicine. You know what I mean? We wear hair nets. Everyone has gloves. We have Tyvek suits on. We have booties. Every single thing. When you walk in, you wash your feet on a mat, everything. So we try to be as sterile as possible. Everyone washes up to their elbows, stuff like that. And we go in, and a normal day is care. It starts off with just clone care, stuff like that, making sure, just like you guys were talking, pH is a big thing. So making out pH, making sure our cloners or whatnot are set up and good to go. And then usually we have to go through, and there's a treatment that goes on every single day. We go through in the morning and at night, and we check reservoirs, make sure everything's at the proper ppm and proper pH, just like that. And that's for feeding the plants that are in the veg department or whatnot too. And then we go through and we do care. So we trim up plants, we open them up, just make sure we take off any stressing leaves or anything like that. You know what I mean? Give them the love. We have certain people in our department that they do primarily cuttings and stuff like that. So they're going throughout the day, and we take right around, we're ramping it up more and more, but it's right around like 1,600 cuttings a week. So it takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? Today we had 3 people cutting on clones just to get to our number. You know what I mean? So
when you guys are like, trimming, I guess, trimming it down, and then cutting the clones. Those are 2 different things. So when you're trimming away the weaker leaves or the weaker plants, what do those look like? What are some of those identifiable things that people that are, kind of, I don't know what the right word is for that.
Yeah, no, you're good. So the big reason why we trim out the lower leaves is, and it's not like we're going crazy. Now, I'm not super big on anyone defoliating the whole plant or anything like that. But when we're in a system,
that was the word I was stuck on. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But when we're in a system like we're not in that home grow setting. It's not 5 of us or 5 plants sitting here in this tent, you know what I mean, with a fan that's able to blow it around. We're in a confined environment. We have tables of 150 plants per table in the veg department. So we're working on airflow. A lot of our environment, there's an environment that's on the outside of plants and that's in the actual room, but then there's the environment that's actually on the inside of the plants, you know what I mean, inside that canopy. So us removing lower leaves, we're removing that environment. Then we could have airflow go through the lower part of the canopy as well, you know what I mean? So that's our big goal on that. We're not really, occasionally if we see a couple, you know what I mean, dying leaves or something like that, we'll pluck that off, you know what I mean? But mainly we're doing it to increase our environment, increase airflow, to help with everything like that, you know what I mean? When you have numbers like this, you got to do everything you can. So
so you guys are growing to have the plant send as much energy as you can towards the top of all those different branches and limbs.
Yep. So we go through and we go throughout the process, like first couple of weeks, basically. So we'll take clones. Those will root for about 2 weeks. After that, we plant directly into table. And after we plant them into the table, we'll go for about a week. And at a week, I'll go through and I'll do a topping or whatever we think they need, depending on strain or whatnot. And then after that, we usually go for around 4 to 5 main liters or whatnot. And that's where we're trying to push our energy to. I'm a big proprietor on not wasting energy, you know what I mean? And if we're growing a plant, there's no reason to waste energy on a branch that we know for a fact we're never going to have, you know what I mean? So like lower stuff like that, real like wimpy stuff, you can tell, you know what I mean? When it's growing, it's hard to say right now, but when you're hands-on, you could tell, you know what I mean? You get a first hands-on experience. But we just kind of trim out stuff like that. But yeah.
See, most people, I feel like, even myself with the home grow stuff that I've done here, I feel like people are afraid to cut off or break off parts of the plant or slice it off or whatever it is, just because they're like, not only are they afraid of stressing it out in certain ways, but then they're just worried about losing overall nugs or whatever. You're just choosing to grow and dedicate that to growing bigger, better quality at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. Yeah. My big thing is just like we were talking again, the energy, you know what I mean? When I am able to remove that branch, you know what I mean? Maybe it would have been shaded out, but it still would have been pulling that energy from that root system. The root system doesn't change. It's still taking that up. So when I remove that whole limb or whatnot, instead of all that energy going there, it's being distributed to the rest of the plant. And that helps bigger bud production, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's not really like a waste, you know what I mean? It's more almost like you're helping yourself out.
Yeah.
And to me, people are worried about setting you back and stuff like that, especially just like you were saying, but it's all about timing. You know what I mean? If you hit it at that perfect timing, no difference. You know what I mean? You're right in flow. So
interesting. And just for myself, learning point, what is some of that timing aspect?
Well, for sure, you don't want a stressor. You know what I mean? If you're going through a stress period, never stack 2 stressors on top of it. We're never going to go through and top something when we just transplanted it. You know what I mean? We're never going to, if it just had a drought, we're not going to go through and cut off the bottom leaves. You don't want to double stack anything. The best grown plant is the one that's with the least amount of stressors. So,
I see.
Yep.
Hey, that's to some that they're going to be like, yeah, man, that's common sense, but I've never grown anything before until I had the opportunity to legally grow cannabis. So
and it seems like no brainers sometimes. Like, who cares cutting off a couple bottom branches when I just transplanted? But you got to think about what that plant's going through.
Yeah,
you know?
Damn, that's so crazy.
In the first grow, I chopped off too late in the flower, and I think I stressed out my prayer people, and I actually lollipopped mine too much. I mean, I think what I didn't like, what I'm not happy with my first grow was that I was way happy with the potency and the buds and what they look like and everything. I just didn't get the yield I wanted. But what I did get is strong as fuck. I mean, that prairie people is very strong. So I think I went the opposite way. I think I, cleaned up too much, and I didn't understand when I first started on the first grow the difference between all 5 of my plants and how they would stretch during flowering. Because the prayer pupa didn't stretch hardly at all, but the swabby just kept going and going and going.
That landvis,
it's just like, oh my gosh, and I had that thing just twisted all over the place. I said I didn't know what else to do with it.
Beautiful,
so, now that I know that shit, now I literally have a list right here of all these things that I'm gonna do different and better, and I have other things and other ideas. So again, it's just grow and learn.
That's man. What's funny is the weed that we've grown hasn't turned out great here, and I don't know why, how, or what. But that's why I was really interested on the North American Weed Tour to start bringing more, cultivators into the mix, so that way not only could I learn, but then other people could learn as well. Right now, you guys, it's a very valuable conversation for people listening, and I hope everybody's enjoying it, having a good time. We've got someone who's currently home growing in the more novice experience level. Got someone over here growing commercially for what sounds like one of the larger cannabis companies or at least cultivators in the entire state. So Ben, I really appreciate you being here. Jason, you as well. Real quick, I just want to shout out everybody, for tuning in. North American Weed Tour Podcast, episode 30. We've got Ben Pfeifer from Aeriz, and we've got Jason Brown from Illinois News Joint. Thank you for showing us the packaging there. Could you go ahead and put it back up there, and could you give us just a slow turn all the way around? I want to give that a good checkout, Oh. There we go. Love it. Beautiful. Sorry. Super cool. Yeah, I haven't, when I was out there, I don't remember seeing it. I only went to one store, Mocha North, Modern Cannabis in Chicago. And I unfortunately bought a bunch of cookie stuff. I got a lot of love for cookies for doing a bunch of dope stuff, but unfortunately their weed is up and down all over the place. So I'm excited to get back out there and check out the weed in the market there, and hopefully get some of your dabs and your extracts. I, for one, have been taking dabs. I smoke. I got this big ass nug in my hand. Check this out, you guys.
Damn.
That's a nug. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in. Oh yeah, there you go.
Nice.
It's called Jawbreakers. So this is what my next joint's gonna be. I'm excited to check it out. All right. Guess big surprise, it's a gelato cut.
Right now, Illinois is kind of in a shift with a lot of the brands because certain amount of months ago that's equaling about right now, one of the brands sold their cultivator place, another brand brought it up, and then they started their own strands, and then another brand kind of relaunched some strands and relaunched their brand, and then another brand just came in, Superflux. Are they in California?
Never heard of them.
So right now there's a ton of new strains coming out in Illinois throughout multiple different brands that are going to be on the shelf.
Ben, how many strains do you guys currently offer, would you say? Just a rough. I know that's the fun part of it sometimes, right? It's
yeah. It's tough. I'll run through them all real quick. I'll hit you with it like a machine gun. But we have quite a few, but I got them off the top of my head. They're not always in the lineup. You know what I mean? We run them in and out sometimes. Some just go to extract because they're so terpy. You know what I mean? But no, we got a bunch of.
I love it though.
Yeah, we got the ice cream cake, we got the lava cake, we got the Tropicana cookies, we got the pink lemonade, we have MK Ultra, we have the Jack Herrera, which is really, really good little sativa. We have Lemon Tree, we run a lot of that you can find in pre-rolls, stuff like that. The Mac 1 we have. Gorilla Cookies, we got that Gorilla Butter, we got the strawberry jelly. The Durban's coming in.
Is it just called the Durban, or is it Durban Poison, or what is it?
It's Durban Poison. I believe there's a legality thing in the state of Illinois with poison. So that's what it really comes down to. Yeah, you can't have poison on a medical product or something like that, or something weird. But we've been through it all. We had a strain that was before that was
Can you spell it differently?
I would assume so. You know what I mean? That would probably be good. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm all about working the workarounds.
Yeah. But we got the Sunday Driver. We got Cake Breath, which Cake Breath, the state denied the name that it was originally. Cake Breath is actually Puda Breath. So the state denied that, of course. Yeah. But so we have Cake Breath, actually the Puda Breath cut, like I said, and a couple other goodies. But no, they're really tasty. Of course, I'm missing a couple GMO. We got that we won High Times with. We got a couple others that I'm blanking on right now. But
you might have said this earlier, but at this point, I have smoked a joint, so fuck it, I forgot if you said it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite out of the entire lineup since you've worked with them?
I don't know. It's tough. Like I said, that China berry, it really has that just like. It's something unique about that China berry. I like that a lot. And I know everyone loves it, and it's probably one of my favorites too. But the Tropicana cookies, just that tangy, just screams through. It's just delicious.
And the smoke on that one's always a little gassy at the end of it. And the exhales always ends up coming out that way.
Nothing better than a joint of the Tropicana, I swear.
You know what? I would have to agree. I would say that sometimes the OGs and the gelatos are always up there in the joints, but I feel like towards the end of it, it doesn't taste the same at the beginning, but the citrus terps
screams all the way through.
All the way through.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love that one. Definitely super tasty.
Now, are you guys and Jason again for I don't unfortunately get to read as many reviews even from our side as much as I would like. Are you guys? What is your guys' dabbing experience like? Jason, we'll go you first.
I don't dab that much. I mean, I do have like I just have like a Comet. It's just like a little one-man thing.
Yeah, those are little.
But I'm more likely just to put dabs on a bowl and take it with me or smoke it out of that, depending on.
True smoker. Spoken like a true smoker.
Any concentrates or. I use medically more for at night, and I try to find the ones that just have the hellacious body buzzes to them, and ones that are knock me out. So I use them late at night to sleep, basically. I'm not kind that's going to get up and before work and take a rip of some Durban Poison or something to kick off work or something. That's not my style. I'm more of a kind of medium high all the way through the day than it just up and down type of thing.
Oh yeah.
So not so much for me, but I know Ben likes them.
Ben, what are you like in terms of dabbing? Talk to me a little bit about your experience. Do you have a first time you ever dabbed story that you're willing to share?
Oh no, I don't think anything too crazy like that. I'm sure just a giant glob, like always, expecting a small one, getting a huge one. You know what I mean? But just the classic, way too hot. You know what I mean? Burning your throat. You know. But
About what year was your first dab? That's always a good question. How about
shit,
that?
it's been a while now. I don't know. Sometime probably. I'm 24, so I don't know. Probably sometime back in high school, not too long ago now. But
I think mine, God, I've never even asked anybody that before. So I think mine was 2013 or 14 in the medical market days for us
okay.
in Washington.
Yep.
And hot as shit.
Yep. Yep.
Hot as
Looking
shit.
like tar. Looking like tar. Yep.
Well, amber tar.
Okay. Okay.
Looking
Well,
like,
yeah,
looking like
you had
Jurassic.
the good state. That's the thing. You had the good
Yeah,
state.
the
Yeah.
flowers. Yeah, the flowers always better. In terms of the early days for us out here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, for obviously for your guys' dabs, you guys are running your own oil or your own flour, your own biomass into your products.
Yep.
Do you? And you said specifically that you guys are dedicating, certain strains and certain flavor profiles probably to certain products. And then you mentioned the terp layer earlier. I'm a big fan of terp layers. My mouth started watering up immediately.
Yeah.
What are some of those strains that you guys dedicate to your guys' extracts?
So we have, like I said, the Tropicana cookies. That one is just, no matter what you do extract, it's fantastic. So we run that extract real heavy. Another one that we do real heavy is the pink lemonade. And the pink lemonade you can find all over the state. We push that really hard through the extract. And that one, so when we're growing it, it has these giant chunky buds, which are great, but we only sell eighths. You know what I mean? So big old chunky buds don't always fit into the program. A lot of time it gets extracted, different stuff like that. It's really fantastic. It has this, Jason probably say as well, but it's really, I don't know, lemony. It literally smells like pink. It smells like you bust open one of those mix up pink lemonade containers and it dusts right up into your nose. That's exactly the smell, I feel like.
Man, that's crazy.
One of my problems with concentrate is I'm a super fan of all those flavors, but those are usually in sativas. And then I'm not a fan of the hashy, earthy type flavors that, you usually get with the nighttime concentrates and stuff. I wish you could somehow flip those. There's a lot more tangy, orangey indicas I've seen out a lot lately. So I don't know, maybe that's changing.
I think it's just a matter of just more genetics getting more and more shared, right? I think we see sativas really go up and down in terms of sales on the West Coast. And then obviously you have these waves of just genetics being released into the market, right? These seasonal seed bank waves, and then it's a year. Everything's a year or so out, right? In terms of when it's actually able to hit. So, I'm also originally a sativa smoker. One of my favorite strains for years was Dutch Treat. It's this, this really, really dense Jack Herrera train wreck type of profile. And it used to, like a blunt of a particular medical dispensary that's underneath the West Seattle Bridge. I forget what it's called now, but they used to have one of those spin the wheels where you spend $25, you get to spin the wheel, and you basically would win something almost every time. And I used to get the, buy eighth, win an eighth. I had just the muscle on point, had it. And so I'd get 2 eighths of that Dutch Treat, man. And that was my shit. And so for you to hear, hearing him talk about the sativas, I don't know. I've seen that strain listed as sativa. I've seen it listed as indica. I've seen it be a hybrid. Every time it's always different. It's going to depend on the actual terpene profile, right? Yep. Do you have favorite terpene profiles that you go to, Ben, for certain things?
Just like he was mentioning earlier, I'm a huge sativa guy. I do, like I said, I'm a horticulture production graduate. I'm all about that heirlooms. You know what I mean? I like the real good. I don't like something that's been over hybridized. You know what I mean? I want to get as close to natural as I can. So me personally, I do sativa landrace crosses. He was saying he grew the Swabi Pakistani. I was growing one that was a Swabi Pakistani cross times Putang. It was called Chick Magnet. But no, so I love the fruity stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but the gas whispers to me, everything like that. But I like that good fruit,
I mix all those sativas. I don't go out of my way to buy a lot of sativas out here in Cali anymore. So I'm often smoking the OGs and the gelato cuts and all this crazy hyped up celebrity designer rapper weed. We actually, I forgot to pull this out. I wanted to show you guys this. totally spaced on having this included in the description, but I have Alan Iverson's new weed here with me.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sick.
I hadn't showed anybody this yet. And then I also have Quavo's weed from Migos.
Nice.
The
That's super
rapper.
sick.
So, you know, out there, I'm not sure who all has celebrity weed out there, but it'll be very exciting to see what kind of celebrities do things out there. I know for you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask who do you guys have out there already doing stuff?
John Belushi's the one who's got his strain that's over here with Grassroots and
John Belushi or Jim Belushi or John?
Jim Belushi, sorry, Jim.
Oh, so Jim's brand is actually out there then.
Yes, it's already out here.
Okay.
Ryan Sandberg is a spokesman for Verilife.
That's kind of dope.
I mean, so it's that is where it's going. Not to pull it back for the other thing, but I think that what you were talking about earlier about the strands and the concentrates, and I think that's where it's going for a lot of growers, is we're going to breed these strands specifically just to make concentrates out of, because they're so resiny or whatever they are, and they're going to making more and more of that alone just because that's what it does. And I think that's going to, it'll be on a menu in 10 years or whatever, where it's, here's a strand for concentrate, because not as many people make them. I mean, in Illinois, and again, you guys are talking about the first time you've dabbed or something. 2000, and I mean, it was last year for me because it was the first time it was available. The concentrates are available, but all the people I know, were, they get them mailed in or whatever from California or Colorado, or they drive out there or whatever they're doing. So, I mean, that's the only way you was really getting it before that. So I do think that that's where it's going. It's like these specific strands are going to be bred for concentrates or whatever it is. I mean, it's already done that with just bud size and a bag appeal and all that stuff. But I think concentrates is where it's going to go next.
Yeah, Ben, do you guys for your concentrates, have you noticed certain strain? I mean, obviously, I'm sure to some extent that all the ones you're picking are performing well in the concentrate space for you guys.
Yeah.
But did you notice any additional reasons why those may have been ideal for concentrates? Because I'm sure for you guys, you're a cultivator, so you're growing in certain ways, but did any tweaks in the veg process or in any of these other areas, do you see that impact at the concentrate level?
Yeah, so as far as right now, it's not necessarily designated, hey, this is going to be an extract table, this isn't going to be an extract table. But that being said, like I was saying before, we have some strains that we just know pretty much, hey, these are going to go into extract, you know what I mean? And everything's fresh frozen. So as soon as we cut it, it's going right into the freezer. Nice. And all that stuff, it mainly ends up being like bud structure, you know what I mean? As funny as it all sounds, you know what I mean? We still are a production company, you know what I mean? So in essence, when someone sits down to trim some ice cream cake, hey, that's a blast, you know what I mean? Our trimmers get right through that, you know what I mean? It's nothing. But like we were talking that China berry, they're going to sit down and have themselves a day trimming that thing up, you know what I mean? It's almost doesn't work in the system. But taking something like that, hitting it real quick, extracting it, comes out perfectly, and it has that fantastic right off the plant taste, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's more or less what we see.
That's very interesting. I know. Is there any? I mean, maybe you guys are doing it, maybe you're not. I don't know how it works in Illinois for outdoor. Are you guys doing outdoor greenhouse, mixed light, all that kind of stuff?
So for the future, I believe we do have plans to get into the outdoor, more or less greenhouse is what we're thinking. Our issue is we're not California, you know what I mean? We're not rocking this beautiful desert like you guys are, you know what I mean? We don't have we get powdery mildew that flows through. We have dewy nights, dewful mornings every day, you know what I mean? So it's a lot trickier to do an outdoor crop than it is in like California. You know what I mean? You guys got that beautiful benefit of it's not there because it can't live without water. You know what I mean?
People be doing it up in the mountains and all that too. So I feel like the Bay Area and all that too, you know, the area is more about indoor versus outdoor, but up in the mountains, I know they definitely have to deal with that. Washington grows a lot outdoor, not a lot compared to like Southern Oregon and all that craziness, but it's just I had never heard of outdoor weed out there yet, and I don't remember physically seeing it at that one store that I went to. You know, this was last March, so
yeah.
If it can grow in Alaska and make autos and do whatever it does, because naturally, then grows everywhere. But
it'll do fine.
And Southern
Southern
Illinois is very, very good farmland. Illinois has some of the best farmland in the United States. Our soil is as good as anybody's. So it's just about the weather and where you're at and what part of Illinois and that type of thing. And we can. It is not illegal to grow outside for a medical patient. It just can't be accessible to other people or be basically seen or whatever. I don't think anybody's really had any problems. What I just tell people that ask me about that stuff is go get the cops, go to the police station and say, I want a cop to come out here and look at this. What do you think of this? Is this good or not good? And they will tell you. They don't. Most of the time they'll just say, yeah, I think you're good. I tell most people you're probably more likely to be worried about somebody taking shit than some police officers if you're doing it legally and you'll survive.
Yeah, that was always my biggest fear of growing at home and outside was exactly that.
Yeah. So again, outside has so many other issues that you have to run across, but we can do it here legally in Illinois if you're doing it. And that's another benefit of being in Southern Illinois is, it's wide open. There's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of people who are farmers. And same with Central Illinois where I grew up. So.
Yeah, and it's really, really beautiful climate down here. Actually, right here where we're at in Anna, it's its own wine valley actually too. So we're known for our little all the glaciers or whatnot that came down, washed everything kind of to us, and we have these giant. It's called the Shawnee Hills. Right here, Anna's in it or right by it, but Shawnee National Forest is the largest in the state or whatnot. And we have it's just beautiful rock cliffs, everything like that. But Southern Illinois is known for peaches more than Georgia even is. We had people drive up from Georgia just because it has that specific climate that's just wild. It's super crazy. Southern Illinois peaches, I promise, you bite into it, it drips down to your elbow. It's crazy.
Damn, I didn't know nothing about that. So then let me ask this. Have you guys seen, as consumers, are we seeing any peach strains out there in Illinois then? Where's the peach cuts?
Hey, I don't know. I want a peach cut.
The wine, one of the wineries, I can't remember which one it is, there's a multiple, as someone who, I went to Carbondale, SIU as well, lived down there. So, and my wife loves wine. So, you get to, and I don't, so I get to be designated driver and drive them when we're going to the wine tour. So we get to go all of them. So yes, you
use vape the whole time, I bet.
Can I go out back or whatever? That was actually when I was in grad school. That was way before vapes and stuff were even basically, they kind of existed, but not in that sense. That would be now, you can pretty much just go anywhere. Now I don't give a shit, if it's, nobody can see me, then I'm not doing anything.
So before we get on out of here, because we're a little over the time, and I apologize for keeping you guys a little long, but I'm honestly, I just was very interested in everything, that both of you guys are saying to me. I grew up in Indiana. The Illinois market is very interesting to me, and I'm obviously going there at the end of the month, so I wanted to tune in. Ben, last question for you. What would you say, what are your thoughts on where the Illinois market is headed? You can also, and include a rise in any part of the positive projections. Everything with Illinois is headed in the right direction in a lot of ways, compared to a lot of the other states. So, what are some of your thoughts on kind of where the industry is going in terms of Illinois?
Well, I would say there's nowhere to go but up. That's for sure. We got a lot of companies and a lot of stuff just kind of pushing out material, and I'm glad to say we're finally getting to that point where we're starting to see the change to quality. So I think our biggest change is going to be people going more for quality, and now we're going to have the craft cultivators that are coming into the industry or whatnot, and that's really going to push quality to the max. You know what I mean? So personally, I think we can only go up from there, and by up there, I mean quality-wise and hopefully price down a little bit is what hopefully we'll see. But, the market right now is crazy. And, every producer is going to capitalize on it. That's just really what it is. So.
There's not enough cultivators and there's more people that need weed than it's available. So right now it's definitely a seller's market. For you guys. We'll just wait until you guys start suffering from croptobers and the things that the West Coast glutton is just crushing brands right now. It's crazy.
You were asking earlier about what's the pricing and everything. You were asking what's the top shelf, and there's no such thing in Illinois. It is $60 an eighth for and then Rev is 65 sometimes, and that's for a medical patient. It's $90 for a recreational patient or recreational person to get it for an eighth. And that's across the board on every brand, on every strand, and everything. So if you think that there's like variety or something, there really isn't. I mean, the market is set. Now, I just posted about what the last month's earnings were for recreational sales, and I think for where we're at, we're about plateaued right now. We're hitting the same 120, 120 around there each month now. So I think that's kind of where we're at until it shifts with the new licensing.
They need to get some new cultivators and another strong harvest season to really go into play, so that way more weed becomes available. Again, patient access, what it comes down to.
It's more cultivators, and they can, if it's the same 11 cultivators whipping out twice as many strands, that's not helping. It has to be more.
No, they got to open it. It's more licenses for more farmers.
Yes. And again, in Illinois, I want us to have caregiver growers. You guys have that, California, or
no more?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Not no more. That was good.
We don't need it out there because you can just do it anyway. So
the police and a lot of people don't know what the rules are or how to enforce it and stuff. And my thoughts. I mean, either way, whoever enforces whatever it is happening out here, they're spread too thin, and their budgets aren't powerful enough to enforce it at the level that California would really require. So, I don't like using the word black market, so I like traditional market. So the traditional market is stronger than ever because of how do you enforce, up there? How do you enforce down here? How do you enforce Oregon? How do you enforce Washington? All these traditional shits, they're getting the taxes is really just crippling people. And then now there's so much weed available in these states that have been doing it for a while. The only place it can go is that way. And it's
only benefiting the MSOs because they're already set in all these states, and they're when we're not federal, it's not a blanket law or anything like that. So they have to follow each individual state law, which sucks for them. But at the same time, inside of those each individual state laws, they have built-in advantages, I would say, and that smaller cultivators and stuff like that don't have.
Ben, I'm high, so I got one last question. It just came to me, and I'm sorry for it. What are your thoughts?
Do this all night.
What are your thoughts on the celebrity cannabis situation? I'm just sitting here stoned, and I'm like, God damn it, Justin Bieber just launched his shit. And I'm over here thinking, I can't remember if he launched in Illinois as well. But either way, you touched on this slightly earlier. What are your thoughts on rapper weed, celebrity weed? Is there a place for it in Illinois? Obviously, Aeriz is quality. Aeriz sounds like they're doing aeroponics the right way. And the genetics that you guys are offering and the ability to do extracts and really fill these different products, to me, it would appear that you guys would be able to potentially do something like that. And so is there even projecting possibility hypothetically? Would celebrity cannabis even work in your state?
I would say there's a good probability that you might see something coming out sometime soon from maybe even Aeriz or other companies throughout the state. That's going to be something real similar to what you're saying. I can't quite go into details, I'm sure of yet, but I would. I mean, it's a marketing, it's all marketing, and a lot of people back that stuff. And I mean, there's nothing. I mean, why not jump on that train? And a lot of times it's just a couple cuts or something come in, and why would you not grow a couple really good, tasty cuts? But I would say it's definitely going to come into play. I know Cookies have been in the state a couple of times, and just a couple other people have been trying to get their foot in anywhere. But I know for a fact we are more than open to that, and we would definitely be seeing something like that in the future coming up soon.
Hey, there we go. We got the RMR Sneak Peek exclusive, everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Of course.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that if they're doing it in the right way, and it's if they're for the right reasons, and it's not some kind of weird scam or whatever. I think that's just part of marketing and what's going to happen, and it's part of legalization and mass consumption. You're just going to get those things that are like that, and some are going to be good and some are probably not going to be.
The weed has to be good. The weed has to be good.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing for me.
Oh my gosh, you guys! And this is why I asked, is because I started thinking about it, and while I hit the joint, I was like, man, I didn't ask the question I wanted to ask about Bieber and all this shit. So like, how can I bring it back in the convo? And I'm like, man, and then I started to get like, he didn't even partner with anybody that's really known for growing good weed at all. They're truly, the pre-rolls don't taste good. I've bought them in the past. I've seen them at a lot of stores. It's just never been associated with quality. So I just, for you guys, out there, the celebrity weed thing for me, it's like, we've seen Bieber, we've seen Drake, we've seen Seth Rogen, we've seen Chelsea Handler. There's just so many different. Urkel, yeah. Well, Urkel's partnered with 710 Labs. They're some of the best of the best. Undeniably, it's some of the best shit in America. So it's going to be interesting to see who people partner with out there, and also who expands out there and then does some stuff like that. I guess final question, triple final question.
Hey, don't worry, keep rattling.
Do you have any edibles or beverage recommendations or shout outs? Who's out there does good edibles and good beverages? Because I got to get someone I come out there.
Well, let me get in there real quick. We're just coming out with some gummy new line. So guys, we'll be getting you on that. Yeah, we'll be dropping some gummies or whatnot, infused with good like blackberry and CBN infusion and everything. So there's going to be some good actual medicine gummies coming out. But I'm not going to lie. Me personally, I absolutely love, we have tonics that, that is, I love the tonic. I mean, you can't beat it. And that's just
These
something.
Are PTS, they're progressive treatment solutions, and they are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
This is a one-to-one.
How many milligrams?
100 milligram bottle.
In Illinois, again, we have a law limit that there's no container that can have more than 100 milligrams of anything in it.
But I don't need everything. I don't drink 100 milligrams of anything. That's too much for me. So is there 10 milligram options? Is there anything less than that?
Well, they have on the back. You can see on the back has a measuring thing, so you can pour it out to see how many milligrams it is.
They also got a 25 milligram.
They've got also a short one.
Yeah, it's a seltzer though. Yeah.
They've got seltzers too, and then there's a couple other brands who just started, and there's a couple other that I have not tried or reviewed yet that I would definitely be interested in doing.
Sorry, y'all, I'm not sure what just happened with the camera. Somehow it became unplugged, but either way, we're back right at it.
Good.
Yes.
So tonic. So that tonic, 25 milligram, 100 milligram option. I'm more the 25 milligram guy. Drink half of it, type of thing. Pour it in some, some Sprite or something else. I'm always just a guy that mixes weed drinks in with other stuff, unless it's like I like 10 milligram drinks or 5 milligram drinks. Ooh, what you got there?
We're just now getting like hash and on the menus and stuff. So this is the PTS hash that we reviewed.
Ooh, turn it down for me. Let me see. There we go. Okay. Woo.
This is the great. This is the. It's almost powdery when you break it up a little bit. Okay. It's really funky. The smells. I like this. It's an Illinois strand actually, and I really do like it. It's probably one of my favorite, just true Illinois that's not anywhere else strands. The point is that we're just that's on
Illinois exclusive.
New Era has the bubble hash that they have, and I think there's another cultivator who's trying to push it out, but we're just now getting like the second and third wave of all these other products that that other states have been legal for a while, have had for a while. So we're getting infused joints now and stuff that we didn't have before. So it's adding on, and we're getting there is more and more stuff coming again, and then each of the cultivators are kind of relaunching and kind of redoing because it's been about a year and a half. So this will be in January will be our 2-year anniversary of legalization.
So the tonic, and then you have edibles coming out. Solid recommendation.
You guys have Bang?
Yeah, I've seen Bang chocolates. I think Colorado first, right?
I'm pretty fan of their stuff. Most of the stuff they've had are pretty decent and everything.
Is that chocolate right there?
It's a cookies and cream chocolate.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I've seen. I believe I saw them.
Milk chocolate. They're usually pretty good. But the edibles, it just depends. sometimes, you'll get a pack and you'll eat 3 or whatever, and it just, it's a little inconsistent sometimes. So, but I think that's actually been a lot better lately than it was early on when we legalized and people were getting edibles. Because I felt like early on I ate a lot. I mean, a ton of them, and they were just not very consistent. But now I think they're getting a little more, and more are coming out with not just the gummies and chocolates or with the traditional ones, but they're getting a lot more, fruits or whatever it is. There's all kinds of new stuff in that way too.
Yeah, I think
we're just opening up to new products.
We're definitely seeing new, I guess, a variety of foods being infused with cannabis now at a higher or at a greater level in terms of creativity, consistency. I think dosing across the country is a little inconsistent.
Ingrown Farms has butter and some other stuff like that you can cook with that we sell here on the dispensary.
I also had that taco mix.
There's a taco mix and a French dip mix that they had. So
whip it up in the kitchen. Yeah.
I love it, man. You guys, and thank you guys so much for shedding so much light on what's going on out there. I've seen some of these products. It's one thing to see it on Instagram. It's one thing to read it online. It's another thing when it's like, yo, I've tried it. I've whipped, I've made some of the stuff. I've used the butters, or, you've done some dabs of that hash product there. It's like, it makes it real. And so for someone that's coming there, I'm so excited to be able to try some of these products and put a name and a face to some of the people behind it. A lot of people that are in the industry, we care about the people that are growing this. We care about the people that are out there building the community. And so it's going to be super dope. I hope to connect with you soon. Jason, I'm very excited to see you here in a few weeks. We're officially, I think, 24 days away from when I'm going to be out there. And I hope to smoke some joints with you guys and one day come visit the grow and make some content together. It's going to be a good one, man. I appreciate both you guys for being on the episode. This was everybody. Thank you guys for joining us today. North American Weed Tour podcast. This was episode 30. We've got Ben Pfeiffer from Aeriz. They do aeroponic cannabis in Illinois. Jason, thank you again. Illinois News Joint. He is the head editor and does basically every single thing that you can think of to push that whole platform forward. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can drop a comment. Do like, follow, and subscribe. This is available on LinkedIn. This is available on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube. So thank you guys. Jason, Ben, I will see you all down the road and in the future. Thank you again.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.